Have you ever heard of a kingdom so powerful, so advanced, that it built one of the largest religious monuments on Earth yet today? Most people barely even know its name. I'm talking about the Khmer Empire, a forgotten bit of history that rose from the jungles of Southeast Asia, created wonders like Angkor Wat, and then mysteriously collapsed. Stick around, because the story of the Khmer Kingdom is like a real-life adventure movie filled with triumph, mystery, and even a little bit of heartbreak. Picture this, it's over 1,000 years ago. While Europe was still deep in the Middle Ages, in Cambodia a mighty empire was rising. The Khmer people weren't just farmers or warriors, they were master engineers. They built cities with massive stone temples, carved with jaw-dropping details that are still visible today. Angkor Wat, their crown jewel, is so huge that you can see it from space. Imagine building something that lasts for centuries, without modern machines, cranes, or computers. Doesn't that make you wonder, how did they pull it off? The Khmer Empire officially began around the 9th century, when a king named Jayavarman II declared himself a god king. He set up his capital in Angkor, and from there the empire grew and grew. The Khmer controlled huge parts of what is now Cambodia, Thailand, Laos, and Vietnam. Think about that, an empire stretching wider than some European kingdoms of the time. They didn't just build temples. They also created one of the most advanced water systems in the ancient world. They built massive reservoirs and canals to control the monsoon rains, making sure they had food all year round. It's almost like they built a superhighway system of water. That's what made the Khmer Kingdom so rich and powerful. But here's the cool part. Angkor Wat wasn't originally a Buddhist temple like many believe today. It was first dedicated to the Hindu god Vishnu. Later, as Buddhism spread, the temples transformed, showing just how flexible and adaptable this empire was. If you walk through Angkor Wat today, you'll see stories carved in stone-dent walls covered in scenes of battles, gods, and legends. It's like their version of comic books, but instead of paper, they used massive slabs of rock. Now, let's pause for a second. If you were alive back then, what would impress you more? The towering temples, the armies marching across Asia, or the idea that this empire had the power to control nature with its waterworks? The Khmer weren't just about strength, they were about smarts. That balance of brains and brawn is what made them unstoppable for centuries. But, as we know, even the greatest empires fall. So, what happened to the Khmer Kingdom? This is where things get mysterious. For centuries, Angkor thrived, but slowly cracks began to show. Some historians say climate change played a role. Remember those water systems? Well, they were amazing when the weather was predictable, but when the monsoons became too heavy or too weak, the whole system struggled. Without steady food, the empire's foundation began to shake. Others point to wars with neighboring kingdoms like Siam, which eventually took over Angkor in the 15th century. And then there's the possibility of internal struggles, corruption, power battles, and overexpansion. Imagine a Jenga tower. Piece by piece, the blocks were pulled out. War, drought, bad leadership, and eventually, the tower came crashing down. By the mid-1400s, the Khmer capital of Angkor was abandoned. Nature slowly swallowed it up. The jungle crept in, wrapping its roots around the temples, hiding them for centuries. Can you imagine stumbling upon those ruins for the first time? It must have felt like stepping into a lost world. Fast forward to the 1800s, when European explorers rediscovered Angkor. They couldn't believe their eyes. They thought, how could something this massive exist in the middle of the jungle? And hardly anyone outside Cambodia knows about it. To this day, archaeologists are still uncovering secrets. Using lasers that can scan through the jungle, they've discovered that Angkor was one of the biggest cities in the entire medieval world, bigger even than London or Paris at the time. Here's a fun fact. Angkor Wat is the only national flag in the world that has a temple on it. Cambodia is so proud of its Khmer heritage that they put their masterpiece right on their flag. That shows how much the empire's legacy still matters today. Now think about this empire's rise and fall. but the stories they leave behind can inspire us forever. The Khmer Empire teaches us about ambition, creativity, and resilience. They remind us that even in the middle of a jungle, humans can build wonders that last for 1,000 years. And they also remind us that no matter how powerful you are, if you don't adapt to change, collapse is always a possibility. So the next time someone mentions Rome, Greece, or Egypt, ask them, have you heard of the Khmer Empire? Chances are, they'll say no. But now, you know the truth. You know about the forgotten empire that built one of the greatest wonders on Earth and left behind a mystery that still fascinates us today. If you enjoyed this journey into the past, don't forget to give this video a like. It really helps the channel grow. Drop a comment below and tell me, if you could visit any ancient empire, would you choose Rome, Egypt, or the Khmer Kingdom? And of course, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our next adventure into history's greatest mysteries. Thanks for watching, and remember, the past is never truly gone. It's just waiting for us to uncover it.